There's a new piece by Jennifer Rubin in the Washington Post, and it argues that if Donald Trump loses this one state, not only can Trump not win in November, it's the end of MAGA as we know it. The state is the state of North Carolina. Washington Post piece. If Trump loses North Carolina, it could be an early night and curtains for the GOP. A Harris win in the Tar Heel state would be decisive. They know this, okay? The people around Trump realize that if North Carolina goes Harris, it could be a historic landslide against Donald Trump. This is part of why I should mention that RFK Jr. is doing everything he can to delay early ballots being printed and sent out in North Carolina. New York Times article, North Carolina begins printing new ballots minus Kennedy's name. After dropping out of the race and endorsing Trump, Robert F. Kennedy has been fighting in court to remove his name from ballots in several states. One of those is North Carolina. It appears as though it is going forward in North Carolina without RFK's name on the ballot. That's good for Donald Trump. But they understand the importance of North Carolina. Going back once again to North Carolina polling, you can look at this data two different ways. The first way is Trump's winning North Carolina. Great, non-story. The problem with that interpretation is that North Carolina shouldn't be this close. Yes, Trump leads in North Carolina, but he leads by only an average of 0.4%. Let me remind myself of the North Carolina presidential election results in 2020. In 2020, Trump won North Carolina by 1.5 points. So when you see a margin of 0.4 and you anecdotally see Kamala Harris leading some North Carolina polls, including the Quinnipiac poll and the WRAL Survey USA poll, as we have on screen, that is not a good scenario for Donald Trump because it is a state that he will have to defend. Now, I want to go over a very specific scenario with you here. There is a scenario in which Donald Trump loses Pennsylvania, which would be, Pennsylvania, Trump's leading by a little, but Biden won in 2020, and it would be perfectly expectable. It could be a Trump win or a Harris win. If Harris wins Pennsylvania, and if Harris wins Georgia, North Carolina ends the night. It's an East Coast end to the night. If you put North Carolina in Harris's camp, as I've done on screen right now, you find that she doesn't even need Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, or Arizona. So we could be done at 8 p.m. on November 5th if North Carolina falls to Kamala Harris. And the thinking, of course, is if North Carolina falls to Harris, she'll get Georgia and Pennsylvania, since those are more feasible. And then, of course, we know that Colorado, New Mexico, California, Oregon, Washington are going to Kamala Harris, as well as Hawaii. We could know the results by 8 p.m., which would be a very different scenario from what we've seen in recent elections. Now, as you can see here, if Michigan were to go to Kamala Harris, if Wisconsin goes to Harris, if Arizona, Nevada go to Harris, you're talking about a larger victory than that which we would have seen in a very long time, certainly in the Trump era. Now, that's an if. This is why North Carolina is so important. Now, on the other hand, if we look at a different scenario, and things got all wacky here, so I'm going to have to reset this. Colorado, New Mexico, Florida would go red. Virginia, you would expect blue. North Carolina, Iowa is going red. You could have a very different scenario, assuming that Trump does hold North Carolina and imagining that Trump gets Georgia, but not Pennsylvania. Then all of a sudden, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona are what it is all about, So there's kind of two approaches that we are going into here. They all lead to, I am going to make damn well sure I look at vote.org, make sure I'm registered, talk to people about voting, have a plan to vote, all of it. That's at the end of the rainbow with all of these scenarios. Scenario one is that North Carolina does fall for Republicans, and then we might know by 8 p.m. what the results are. The other scenario is it's much more heavily contested, in line with the state polling, mind you. So that's the scenario I expect. And then we have a situation where Michigan might be decided by 10,000 votes. Wisconsin might be decided by 10,000 votes. Arizona, Nevada decided by 10,000, 15, 20,000 votes. And forget about results by 8 p.m. We probably wouldn't even have results by 8 a.m. the following morning, because if these 4 states are what it comes down to, these 4 that are in tan up on the screen, and they are tight, Trump will claim fraud. There will be lawsuits. There will be chaos. There will be insanity. So my plan is to vote. I hope that you have the same plan. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/The David Pakman Show, heading towards 3 million subscribers. We'll be with you through and beyond Election Day.